The Blood-Drawn Chronicles, Season 2, The Ballad of House M, is brought to you thanks to the generous donations of viewers like you. Thank you. If you would like to make a donation towards our next season, titled Season 3, Psalm of the Hellborn Prince, visit www.tbdcpodcast.com for more information. On behalf of everyone here at DigiFox Studios, we want to thank you for listening, and now our story begins.
A black carriage stands outside Carly's chateau. Upon entering, I noticed the windows were covered up tightly. This was to be my first carriage ride. As Woodrow sits facing me, he engages in conversation. I can't help but ignore him as I find my mind drifting into scenarios I can only ever hope of being possible. The day I stormed Theophilus's castle, I found scraps of burnt paper in the fireplace located in his private chambers. Though the sheets were a mere graze away from becoming ash, I was able to recognize what appeared to be a drawing of a cylinder. After days spent searching his castle, I found his book. Yet no other mention nor depictions of cylinders were ever uncovered. Naturally, without much to go off of but a sheer burnt sketch, I disdained exploring cylinder objects from my quest in man's world. Searching for Theophilus in an unknown realm was challenging enough. I did not need to add to the difficulty. Yet, somehow, without try or effort on my part, I may have come across the very object depicted on the paper that day. Could it be so? Have the fates bared such witness to my struggles on this journey that they've decided to lend a helping hand, a gift to soothe my inner pains? Perhaps I soar too close to the sun on wings made of wax. Even so, I cannot help but feel hopeful on the subject. Regardless, I must maintain the enactment of absolute ignorance on the matter whilst I remain in Carly's company. As I continue in thought, I am interrupted by the calling of my name.
Myrick, are you listening to me?
Yes, I am.
Good, we've arrived. Now just follow my lead and remember what I told you. Do that, and our night shall end most joyously.
Of course. Lead the way, sir. The carriage was parked in a dark room of some sort. I followed Woodrow through several dark halls. We climbed a flight of stairs that led to a dim-lit room. At the center of the room was a magnificently carved round table with 6 exquisite chairs. Occupying 3 of the chairs were 3 of the most elegantly dressed men I've ever encountered. Though each of them were clearly true-born vampires, they stood as proper symbols of this world's aristocracy. Each of them maintained his composure while staring heavily upon me. I realized they saw me in my true form. My ring, which hides my true appearance from man, holds no influence in the eyes of a vampire. As I look to Woodrow Carly to thin the tension between us, one of them beats me to it.
Woodrow Carly, you are late.
Yes, well, one cannot expect to be the life of the party if one arrives on time, Don Campeggio.
Well said. Are you going to introduce us to your friend?
Yes, of course. Where are my manners? Don Campeggio, this is a good friend, Myrick. Myrick, this is Don Carlo Campeggio from Porta Vita, Italy.
Pleasure to meet you, sir. I am Myrick Meyerson.
The pleasure is all mine, Mr. Meyerson.
This gentleman right here is none other than the infamous Lord Darren Rochford of my homeland of England.
Greetings, Mr. Meyerson.
Greetings, my lord.
Lastly, but certainly not least, Count Marcel Brokva of Castile, Transylvania.
That is pronounced Castile, Transylvania.
I will do well to remember that, my lord Count.
Good. I like you already. Have a seat next to me.
Well then, shall we begin this game?
Let us begin, Don Campeggio.
Do you play cards, Mr. Myerson?
Depends on the game.
This game is called Reverses. I take it a man of your stature recalls such a game?
I do.
Your hesitation has me somewhat questioning your ability. Are you sure you can play the game?
He'll play the game. Myrick is a very fast learner.
Very well. Before we start play, each of us here wagers something. What do you wager, Mr. Myerson?
Oh, I'll be covering his wages tonight, Don Campeggio.
You two must have a friendship. Very well, Mr. Carley. Let the game begin.
As we played, I quickly familiarized myself with the gameplay. The game of Reverses was a trick avoidance game where each player attempted to avoid taking tricks with certain cards in them. We played with a 52-card pack, lacking 10s, making 48 cards in total, aces being high. Each player started with a box containing 36 units called fish, 24 counters worth 6 fish each, and 6 contracts worth 8 counters each, making a total equivalent to 468 fish. Likewise with 2 pools called the Great and the Little Quinola pools, which were always to be placed on the dealer's right side. The dealer, Campeggio, deals 3 cards to each player and 4 to himself in the first round. Afterwards he always deals 4, so that non-dealers will have 7 cards each, and then himself 8, with the 5 remaining placed singly in the middle of the table, opposite to each non-dealer. Each non-dealer must put a card under the pools and replace it with the card that is opposite to him on the table. Campeggio likewise puts out 1, but does not take any in, should 3 remisses, or stakes, are in the pools. Then it is in any player's option to take a card or not. If the players do not take a card, they may see it before it is placed in the discard. Then, previous to playing any card, the opposite players exchange one with each other. The player who wins the first 9 tricks is deemed to have undertaken the reverses. This obliges him to win the other 2 or lose the game. If no reverses was undertaken, each player totals the value of counting cards contained in the tricks he won. The player with fewest wins. After about half an hour of observation, I instantaneously began to hone my gameplay, so much so that the game and its players were no longer presenting a challenge to me. After 11 straight tricks won, I was undoubtedly declared the winner. Woodrow, Campeggio, and the others showed their complacency towards my victory. I had stolen the night. Directing myself now at Woodrow, I could not help but wonder what his agenda with me was for the night. For the life of me, I cannot seem to figure this dwarf's intentions. His cunning and insight are like none I've ever encountered. I dare say he rivals my own intellect. However, the truth of the matter is, it is I who has fallen victim in the game he plays, and since I cannot figure his game, clearly he is the superior mind. Funny that a man so small can hold the upper hand. Yet his manner is more askew than I care to comprehend. From before the moment we cross paths, he has playfully stayed 1 move ahead of me, each moment planned with the utmost attention to detail. He is careful not to leave a single scenario unchecked, nor a slight element overlooked, and though tonight may seem like a harmless card game at play, I know a mastermind with a master plan is at work. I was not brought here to play a simple game of cards with a few undead nobles. I'm here for a much larger reason, and since I haven't the capacity to unveil it, I sit waiting, watching the mastermind at work.
11 straight wins! You must tell me, where did you learn to play like that?
I learned from Woodrow.
Is that so? Woodrow, I did not think teaching was one of your many talents.
Trust me, as much as I would love to take credit for my friend's victory, I'm afraid I had very little to do with his skill at all.
Is that so? Well then, Mr. Myerson, where did you learn to play so well?
I learned here and there.
Here and there? Come now, Myrick, don't be so modest. Tell them where you learned to play so well.
It seems your friend wishes to remain mysterious, Woodrow. And I, for one, do not think it fair to hand over victory to a man of such shady character.
Do not judge my character on a simple card game, Mr. Rochford.
How can I not? That is all I have to give a sound basis of your overall demeanor. And that's Lord Rochford to you, Mr. Myerson.
I look around at the other undead who seem to await a response from me. In normal circumstances, I'd have Lord Rochford on his knees right about now. In light of the incomprehensible events that have led to this moment, I dare not pursue this particular matter as I have so many others. Against every fiber of my pride, I humble myself to Lord Rochford, saying, I apologize if I've offended you, my lord.
He apologizes. What do you know, Carly? You won.
Yes, I believe I did.
Congratulations, hellborn prince.
Once again, you've outdone yourself, Woodrow.
Yes, well, I believe now is the moment you gentlemen all pay up.
Very well, Carly.
The dim room now lights up fully. The main doors to the room opens. A red-headed woman steps out. She is clothed in the most scandalous of dresses, exposing her torso from the neck to the lower abdomen region. The lower part of her dress, if one can call it that, serves as a means to only cover the loin area, leaving much room to show off her toned thighs and delicate hips. She approaches the table.
I take it everyone here is finished with their game?
Yes. As always, Camilla, you are the most gracious of hosts.
Save your compliments, Don Campeggio. Tonight's festivities are far from over.